intellectual cocktail party. It's about things like politics.
Is this good for the country or what?
The economy. All too much. This is just all too much. A bunch of things that I think I know about, but I really don't know about. This is about an intellectual cocktail party where, you know, we're gonna have drinks. We're gonna, not drugs, but we're gonna have drinks and we're gonna talk about things like politics. Today we're gonna talk about healthcare.
You promised me drugs. What's up with this? Guacamole and a cranberry juice?
Don't you think that the mandate is a little fucking much? I mean, the government telling us that we have to go get healthcare insurance.
Because it's a poor way to phrase it.
First of all, I'm mandated to have car insurance here in California.
Yeah, but see, that's different. You're not.
Why
you don't
is it
have
different?
because it's a privilege to drive. If you were to say tomorrow, you know what? I'm
It's
not
not
going
a
to drive.
privilege
Then
to
listen.
live.
The mandate,
listen,
it's a poor way to phrase it. It's a poor way to phrase it. What it is what we have is a system that is not sustainable because it is employer-based healthcare.
Right.
So all the government is doing now is saying that, listen, the government will make sure that you will have health care. They are taking your employer's place of paying for it. If you cannot pay for it, you will not have to be pay any more than you can afford. That's where all the exceptions and the fines come in. And no, hold on a second, okay? Because the system that we have now is not sustainable. That's all that's happening.
We
and
pay
we
more
as
than
a
any
society,
country,
we
and we
as
have
a society
died
have decided a long time ago that health care
we
is
pay
an
more-
important
I'm trying
right
to-
for people, okay? When people say get government out of my Medicare, they're idiots.
They're
and they lost that
Let's
debate.
talk about that. Let's
They
talk
lost
about the
that
fucking
debate.
backlash.
That
because
debate
part of
is
the
over.
backlash is not just we can't afford it. Part of the backlash is fucking this is Nazism. They're waving the King James Bible like Jesus Christ didn't say help the sick and the poor verbatim.
Well, let's also
The fuck
keep in
is
mind,
that?
let's not act like, as we talked about this before, let's not act like the opposition to the Affordable Care Act and the healthcare reform that just passed in this country was all coming from people who were opposed to it ever happening in the first place. Like we said again, there was 12 to 13% of opposition because the reform was not liberal enough.
Right.
There was always a healthy majority of this country that wanted this to
no
happen.
public
So
option.
all the arguments about,
I'm
well, it's a
all
slippery
about
slope
a
to this
public
and it's a
option,
slippery
This
slope to that.
Nobody
insurance
was going to disagree that the healthcare system was messed up and needed to be fixed.
That's where you're wrong, because the entire Republican Party disagrees.
I heard
How?
you speak, now it's my turn.
Okay, how do we fucking fix it?
Tort reform first.
This is not a very fun
people-
party
having
at all. Matt, you made a good point. What I mentioned can be on the road to communism. So, you know, I understand that, but I think, you know, there's a lot of things that involve government.
Hold on, wait. My intern Andres wants to tell me something.
You have an intern?
Doesn't everyone have an intern?
Oh.
What the fuck do you want, Andres?
Hey, listen, you know what we gotta tell these third world countries? Get your motherfucking money, bitches! If you ain't got no money, you some kind of toe up bitch.
Okay, just go to your room, dude. What were we talking about? What were you saying?
I think we were talking about
The road to communism. They always say.
Sure.
Okay, the use of government at all. Hey, you know. Let me tell you a quick story, and then we'll start again. Once upon a time, turn of the century, the fire department was not something that was part of the government. You had to subscribe out on the frontier, where all the libertarians think that we're still in, and you had to subscribe. And if you didn't subscribe to the fire department and your fucking barn was burning down, if you and your neighbors, out of charity, didn't fucking help you put out the fire, your fire burned down. While there was a guy half a mile away with a fucking big pump full of water, and they watched. And then finally people said, you know what? Why don't we all just tax each other a penny or whatever the fuck, and let's have a fire department that's part of the county, and he'll come out and put out our fires. And everyone said, yeah, you're right. After a bunch of people like this one and this one saying, oh, you can put it out yourself.
A penny is different than 2.5%.
Well, inflation. Hey, you got a cause for inflation.
It's a conflict of ideologies.
That's important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're never going to agree on these things because I don't believe that you should take from me to give to someone else. And again, I always go back to where does it end? Every civilization that's crumbled in the past, Rome, Greece, Ottoman Empire, all of them have crumbled because of things like this. Government out of control, nation
Rome
building.
crumbled because of the fire department or the house.
They all crumble because of the origins. I'm sorry.
I'm not talking about the fire department. I'm talking about universal health care, social security.
Did Rome have universal health care?
No, Rome had a lot of problems. They had a.
Did all the Western European empires have universal health care?
They were monetizing their debt. Same thing. They were nation building. They were basically doing They were doing a lot. They were doing a lot of the things that we're doing right now, as did all the civilizations.
But it wasn't an economical reason that Rome fell. It was a military reason. It was stretching up the
It was
empire.
nation building.
It was nation
also
building.
economics
Which is the
as well.
policy of the Republican Party, which
Thank
you
you.
say is no different from the Democrats.
That's very right. Well,
It is no different.
I'm pretty sure that
party.
the Democratic Party has not pursued a policy of nation building like
That's
Iraq
true.
and
That's true.
Afghanistan.
That's right. Barack took us out of Afghanistan.
I'm pretty sure we're winding down in Iraq
So,
right now.
hold on a
second. Hold on a second. Because it's a very different philosophy that we're pursuing in Afghanistan right now, and I'm not going to say that I agree with it, but there's a difference between having a targeted plan when you're going in there for an attack and then taking your eye off the ball
Dude,
and
if you
spending
honestly
$2.2
believe
trillion
there's any
in
difference
Iraq.
between the parties, you're a fool.
You think there's no difference, you're a fool.
First
Really,
of all,
'cause
if
let's
there's
look
no
at- let's
difference,
look at
then why
history.
did no Republicans vote for this measure?
The
and all
Republicans show that there's a
Democrats
difference
did?
every time there's a vote, man.
There
Okay,
must
so you know
be
what-
some difference. There's got to be something
the only-
besides homosexuality that just makes a difference.
Jesus,
between two
Jesus,
parties.
Jesus, Jesus.
Jesus
So we're
and
talking about
sodomy.
we talk about George Bush was a Republican. He was the same as Barack, and then he expanded government. What I'm saying to you is
Except he
policy
couldn't
wise.
speak
But the Republicans don't understand
freely.
that.
Listen to me. I don't care what I'm saying to you is that all they have in common. I mean, everything they have in common is big government. All they do is grow government, and it doesn't matter how they grow it. They just grow.
But the
it.
Republicans don't want to
And
grow on
bigger
healthcare
and bigger.
because God forbid some poor people and
But that's
sticks and
bullshit,
blacks get some fucking free healthcare on their dime.
Dude, the Republicans
We need
created
government.
Medicare Part B.
We
They're
need
just as
government,
deep.
man.
They
Full of
created
shit.
To get seniors vote.
Medicare
We
Part D is a
need
shameless
government.
ploy to get senior citizens vote, and it didn't pay for itself at all. It was completely deficit funded.
Yes.
The Democratic health care plan, the Affordable Care Act, is completely financed on
Yes.
its own. So
Yeah,
don't say
according to
And
CBO.
security
But
are
I
being
just think for me,
Dude, let's talk about
I just think the government
Medicare.
can't do
Forget it.
anything
No,
right.
it's like-
They can't run the postal service. Social Security is going bankrupt. Medicare is going bankrupt. Oh, now they want to.
It's all monopoly
They can't
money.
run the
Hey,
postal
let-
service. Wait. They can't run the
How
postal
long does it
service.
take? Yes.
Ask her the question
First
and
of
then let
all,
her talk.
nobody's using the postal service anymore. It's not because
I
they
use it all
can't
the
run
time.
it. Well, not like before. You don't do any bill
Dude,
pay
there's a
online.
law that
No,
you
you
have
don't
to
do any
send
bill pay.
postage to
Who,
them.
wait,
You
who
can't
in this
FedEx,
party
UPS
does
can't.
bill pay online and doesn't send letters anymore, does their bill pay online, doesn't use the postal service for some of their business? Who? Does
I use the internet.
I use it all the
I use
time.
the internet
Do
for
you?
something.
What is your point?
And by the way, Al Gore
Because he's
started the
saying that
internet.
I'm saying
that's
that-
why the postal service is going down. The postal
I'm
service is going
saying
down
that they
because
can't. I'm
we
saying
don't
that
need it
government
anymore.
run things. Just they don't know how
But
to
what
Did
I'm
you go to a
saying,
public
to be honest,
university?
If it wasn't a government-run entity, they would have laid
It's
a
a
lot of
public
people
option.
off, and they wouldn't be
Fair
so
enough.
bankrupt.
Fair enough. There's
What
a
I'm
lot of
saying is
issues going on.
government has scope creep with everything. Everything
Okay,
they do
but that
grows
doesn't mean that
and
government's
grows
wrong.
and
That
grows.
means that reform needs to take place. I'm in favor of government. I think government needs to be checked and double checked, and that the people should have an important say in what
But
goes
wait a
on.
minute,
in
Because they
government.
have no say when it comes to corporations
Wait a
and what
minute,
they
wait a
do. Except at the at
all,
the
we've
This
already
this
had-
healthcare
we've
reform
already
is
had less
corporate. It's an
government, though.
insurance.
You're right, it
takeover.
is. So I don't
It's basically
understand
like
That's
here's
why
30
I
million new
say.
people.
That's why I say this is a step in the right
A
direction.
step.
It's a step in the
Because
in the
opposite
morality
No,
of
because-
morality
no,
of
because this goes back to what Matt was saying. Is this is an ideological issue about whether or not I'm a collectivistic person or I'm an individualistic person.
Right.
And I tend to be a collectivistic person,
Right.
wondering about the community and how we can all work together.
Okay,
to
I want to
improve
just
it.
say something because you know what? One of the problems that I have right now, and you're
That
gonna
makes you
love
a
this,
Democrat, not a
is
communist.
that no, it doesn't. That's bullshit. Collectivism is another word for communism. It's
Exactly.
the same fucking thing.
Well,
Same
then
thing.
call
There
me
is
a
no
commie and
difference.
paint me red.
I'm